Ben, what are you doing in there? I briefly glanced up at the door. My wife stood on the other side. I'll just be another minute. There was no point in answering her questions. She knew what I was doing, I'm sure. And she didn't like it. And she didn't understand. Because she wanted me to move on. But my eyes just slid back down to my phone where they continued to watch a tiny screen for another 4 minutes. I had scoured the internet for months looking for the rest of the trial. But all I could find was this aggressively edited 6-minute segment that had been televised by A Current Affair. I had seen the video so many times that I knew every detail of every second. But still, I watched, because I needed an answer. The camera was currently focused on the jury. They were all leaning forward and concentrating on the testimony of the forensics expert. The camera then slid over to the witness stand where Dr. Fillmore talked about the decomposition of Andrew's body and the state it had been in when a dog walker had discovered it the previous May. Fillmore then walked over to the overhead projector, tapped the stack of slides on the table to straighten them, and then slid the top slide of the stack and placed it onto the projector. A graphic photo of Andrew's naked body suddenly assaulted the courtroom, and the entire room gasped. A Current Affair had blurred out the photo, of course, but I remembered what was on it. My poor little Andrew. It had been my job to protect him. They were right to be horrified. Listening to a monotone medical expert drone on about the graphic abuse of a 5-year-old child was much, much different than seeing its effects firsthand. The doctor explained the slides without emotion, pointing out the countless abrasions, bruises, and open fractures. And he spoke about the ultimate manner of death, strangulation, and showed the court how the handprints on Andrew's neck matched perfectly with the defendant's. He then turned off the projector and began to speak about his presumed time of death. The camera pulled back at this point to show my family quietly crying. And then, finally, it panned over to the defendant's table. The boy, sitting behind his lawyers, looked downright bored. He flipped a pencil back and forth between his fingers and sighed loudly every few seconds. This was the monster I wanted to kill. He seemed to feel that the camera was on him because he suddenly turned, looked straight into the camera and smiled. It was a smug, intelligent smile, as if he wasn't afraid of the consequences, as if he believed it had all been worth it. And in the end, I suppose he was right. The boy had been sentenced to incarceration until his majority, and then another 7 years after that. It was nothing. I knew better than anyone that it was less than nothing. I looked over at the gun I had hidden under the sink. It now sat on the bathroom counter, begging me for justice. Was it too good of a death for a monster like this? It'd be so easy. Too easy. Didn't justice require more? A manner of death similar to what my little brother had faced all those years ago. Andrew had endured horrors no human should suffer. Days of it. I looked back down at the tiny screen and watched the last few seconds of the video. The boy suddenly sat up at rapt attention as some of the makeshift torture devices he'd built were brought out and placed on the table near the jury. My family was escorted from the courtroom and A Current Affair into the segment there. But it didn't matter, because I remember what happened next. The detective had held up each one of the devices for the jury to examine, and I had rocked back and forth in my seat next to my lawyer, giddy with pride at my gruesome creations. Valerie knocked on the door again. "Ben, are you going to bed or not?" But I was contemplating a much more important question, the only one that mattered. In truth, I knew how to kill a monster. I glanced over the revolver on the counter. That part was easy. But the problem was more complex than that. Because how do you kill a monster when it's inside of you?